So the first thing that we do after we do the design is we do have it printed out, and I actually cut out the 100% template. We need to find the center point of the design as related to the shirt. So typically we usually measure from the seam of where the arm meets the I guess the collar right here, and also from the center of the shirt over. So typically we're measuring about 8 to 9 inches down for, this is an extra large, so you can see here, this is about 8.5 inches right down here, and I've already put a needle where the center point should be, and then from the center over, we're about 4 inches, 4.5 inches over. So that's where I found my center point. And now what we need to do is we need to utilize the hoop master to hoop the garment up so that it's ready for the machine. I also was using the cutout to kind of see where that would go and to see if it did need to be shifted, but that looks pretty good right there. And so there again is our center point. It's going through a little bit of the material, and that's where my center would be. It's kind of hard to see because it is gray. So the next part that we do is over here on the hoop master. And on the hoop master, before we put the garment on, we take the back of the hoop, we will place it inside the ring. I have placed it at about 18 on this, and this is just kind of a guess. I haven't done it yet. But I also cut a piece of backing. So here's my backing that goes behind the shirt. And we put the back ring here, and then what we're going to do is take the backing, put it here. We've got the magnets to hold it down so it doesn't shift while I am hooping. I also want to release, put it in the position to where I can remove the hoop after I'm done hooping. This holds it down, you know, while it's not in use. So now I'm going to take the shirt. I'll go ahead and grab the shirt over here. We will pull it over on top. Want to make sure that's center. You can use your line marks here. And we will put the top of the hoop in here. You see that it's got these notches here to make sure that it fits straight, you know, or not that you're not off or anything like that. So it does fit straight in here. There's the center of my design, and I'm actually at collar mark, let's pull it down just a tiny bit, collar mark D, and here we are at 18. So I can also take my design and put it in here where that center point is, making sure that it is going to fit. This is a little low, so maybe I will pull it up, maybe to collar mark C, and I can see there's the center point right here, and that is pretty much center to me. This is where we have to line up the machine with, and we'll see that in the next segment. So all I have to do to hoop, I'm just going to take this out, I'll go ahead and press it down, pull it up, we are hooped, and now we are ready to go to the machine. The one thing I do want to show you about this is, yes, it is hooped, but also on the back side, you do have your backing all encompassed in here, and this is that magnetic hoop. And this is on a sweatshirt. This was just something that I had to show you. So next thing we're going to do is go to the machine. So now we're at the machine, and we have to load the design. I did put the design on a USB stick, you know, just like this. Plug it in to the back of the machine, or you can network the computer to your machine too. We have to pull the design from where it's stored. So to pull the design, I click on the R1 and say, okay, I want to pull it from the USB. And when I pull it from the USB, it asks me what frame I'm using. I'm using the tubular frame, so I confirm that. Then it goes to my USB. I do have a lot of designs on here, so I am just going to go ahead and page down and get to the design, which is UP90. Once I select it, I'll go ahead and select it and put it into the memory. It goes ahead and puts it into the next memory slot, and it's asking me how do I want to program in the colors and other values that may be necessary for your design. So I will optimize with my user-defined values, and in here it's showing me, okay, you've got 3 colors. Now what needles do you want to assign to those colors? You know, the machine doesn't know what colors are on each needle. So you do have to refer to the machine. What I've done is kind of written down here on my worksheet, black is on needle 11, that's the first color. White is on needle 8, which is the second color. Green is on needle 6, which is the third color, and you can see that right here. If I'd like to see each color, what it's sewing out, I can click Design Part, and this is going to be the black rectangle behind it. So I will just input needle 11, my needle assignments down here. So I'd have to go to the 9 through 15, go to needle 11. My second one is the white, so I have to go to needle 8 for that. I have to switch back, hit needle 8, and then the rest is green, and that is needle 6. So I just assign it to needle 6. I'm finished with those. I'll accept that stop table. It asks me for some other optimizations. I'm good, so I just optimize with those set values. If I want to turn it upside down for maybe like a cap, or if I've hooped the garment upside down, I can rotate the design, I can size the design, any sort of modification I want to do, you know, I have these options. But since we're not turning it upside down or changing the size, we're just going to hit no design modification over here. So it's showing me, okay, these are the colors, these are the needles that you're using. Everything is optimized, ready to go, and we'll just go ahead and accept the loaded design. So now that design is ready, and we are ready to put the garment onto the machine. Okay, so now we're going to load the garment onto the machine. Before I do that, I want to show you that we are on needle 1 right now. You can see that is over the needle plate. So you won't see the needle plate whenever the garment's on, so I need to make sure that I do know what needle we're on. I can also see that up here on my controller. It's showing me that I'm on needle 1. So we're going to take the garment. It is hooped. I'll go ahead and make sure that the arm goes through the garment. We'll go ahead and slide in the hoop into the arms. Make sure that fits in there. And what we're going to do is line up this needle with the center point. Now, even though this needle is not going to start, we're just using it as a reference point. What's nice about this machine is I don't have to, you know, hand crank the wheel or anything to put the needle down to really get that center point. All I have to do is I'm pressing a button on the controller for the needle to come down. This helps me visually too. So we're picking up from the last video. We ran out of memory. Sorry about that. So with the needle down, I'm going to go ahead and move my pantograph to where it's going to line up. This is my center point right here. So on the controller, I make sure I'm in my pantograph movement. I can go to the pantograph movement speed. I've got fast, slow, 10 pulses, and 1 pulse. This is very helpful for exact placement, especially when you're doing things such as split front jerseys, or you're doing something that needs exact placement. It's just a very small increment to move the machine. So what I'm going to do is we're going to put it on the slow mode, and we have our 4 arrows, and you'll see that I will change between the slow mode and the incremental just to get the exact placement. So we're going to look at the hoop right now. We're going to look at the needle, and we are going to go ahead and move the machine, or the pantograph, to the exact placement of the center point. So remember, we are lining up the reference point. I can even have that needle go down further, and if you watch the needle, it's kind of small little increments, but I can get exact here with the single increment moves. Okay, so we do have the design centered where we'd like it to be. I'm going to bring the needle back up, and the next thing we want to do before we start sewing is trace the design within the hoop. So we're going to go back to our main items here, I go to the trace function, and here it'll give me a trace of my design. I'm going to go back to the start and stop, and here we are going to hit the start button, and we have the ability to frame it faster or slower, meaning that we can move the pantograph faster or slower. I'm going to hit the start button, and you can see what we're doing right now is we're following this needle, making sure it's going to fit inside the hoop. So typically this is a very close perimeter trace. You can change the trace to be, very close to the proximity of the design, or you can make it, they call it contour coarser, kind of get a larger area of the design. So I see that it does fit in my hoop. I am going to take this out because it is lined up with the center. I'm going to bring my needle down, and with the needle down we'll do another trace. So I'll go ahead and hit the start button, trace the design, and you can see how close the presser foot will get to that hoop. We're seeing that it clears the hoop, and if at any time you see that it's, might get too close to the hoop, you can stop it, move to where you want it to move, and then start it again, and it will realign with that new movement. So once that's finished, I'll hit the previous button. I want to make sure that I do have the bobbin in, and there is thread in the bobbin. There's thread in here. We snap that bobbin back in, and now we are ready to start the machine. So the needles are plugged in. The we've traced it. Everything's placed properly. It's centered. So all I have to do is hit the start button here, and when I hit start, it's going to start embroidering. So now it's going to move to the first needle, which is needle 11. it's finished, it returns to center. These are just loose threads because we had we had changed our threads from the previous, so they have some tails on it. And you can do this before or after. And then we're finished. We can take it out of the hoop, and we are ready to go.